Welcome in, everyone. Bamf here, and today is going to be a good one. Today's life story is going to be about when one of my friends got KO'd in the street. But first, before we jump in, I hope y'all are having a good day. Remember to subscribe. And dude, honestly, if I get 10 subs on this channel, I'll be hype. I don't know. I really never expected to even get any in the first few weeks, but I don't want to digress too much here. So if you enjoyed this video all the way through, give it a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. I believe this was in the year of 2011. This was a weekend where I had planned on hanging out at my friend Gil's house with him and his roommates, play some Black Ops Zombies, watch some Trailer Park Boys, smoke up, have some drinks, yada yada. Now, Gil's been mentioned in a few of my other videos, and he eventually became a roommate that I lived with at my place, but at this point, he was living in a different spot. So the first day I remember, I want to say it was a Friday. I remember that Gil's house, they did this thing once every few weeks where they called it burger biscuit night, right? Yeah, these guys would throw in some big Grand's biscuits. Like, come on, they're not from scratch, we're just like some young ass kids, like, fuck it right now. They'd make some patties out of like a mix of country ground breakfast sausage and then ground beef. It kind of sounded weird at first, but dude, I'm telling you, anytime they did burger biscuit night, I'd always make sure to show up or like make sure to get invited and try to show up with like some booze and some smoke, to make it a merry little get together. They would have lettuce, onion, tomato, like whatever toppings, Really felt like Sling Blade eating mustard on a biscuit, but man, honestly, I need to recreate that. It's been literally 12 years since I've had one. I don't really know if it was because I was a super poor college kid or if it was because it was actually like a dank meal. I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to try it again and see. But anyways, back on topic. So we're all chilling, having a good time. Also, one of the people hanging out with us was Nick. Nick was a guy that lived a few houses down from Gil and his roommates. I had met him and chilled with him maybe a few times before this night. He was a pretty nice guy and he was always a good hang. It was also kind of interesting how Gil and his roommates met Nick. Apparently, he was just really their neighbor before they had really got to talk to him. They would just see him a few times walking past their house while he would go to the gas station to pick up a few things. And every now and then they'd be outside having a beer or a cigarette and they'd just say, hey, just wave to him. So as they would see him, kind of the more they would, just have a conversation every now and then. Nick got to meet their dog and everything, so they kind of just became slowly more friendly over time. But at one point, Nick just kind of disappears for like over a year. Nobody knows where he's at. He also lived with his grandfather, but I don't think they knew this at the time, nor I don't think they knew him well enough to, I guess, chat with his granddad. So I guess they really didn't think anything of it. So, like I said, Gil and his roommates also had a dog that they kind of jointly took care of named Mary. Now, Mary's like a medium-sized dog, but she was like hyper, like high energy as hell, dude. Well, one day, Mary gets off her leash outside and just takes the fuck off. There's no catching her, like, whatsoever. Like, once she's off, she's gone. So, Mary was lost for about 2 days, or honestly, even more, I believe. Well, one day, Gil is sitting outside his place smoking a cigarette, and a van pulls up, out jumps Mary, and then right behind her is Nick. And after Nick hops out, he says, hey, did you guys lose something? So it was after this moment that Gil and his roommates were pretty thankful and just super cool with Nick after that. So, they see him like the first time in, over a year. They're like, yo, man, where have you been? This is like the first time we've seen you like over a year. Well, Nick tells everyone that he actually got locked up for a little over a year and that he had literally just got out that day. And I guess him and his grandpa were driving and saw Mary down the street, so they brought her by. It turns out that Nick had actually been involved with some gang activity, but he was walking a straight path after he got out. I'm pretty sure his grandpa that he was staying with was like a veteran or something like that, and he received a decent payout from like the VA or something. I remember he was saying over like some discrepancies, and he wanted to help Nick out and just kind of make sure he had a good chance, just to kind of get back up on his feet and stay on the right path. Anyways, before I headed home that night, Nick was talking to us about potentially going to a local show that one of his friends were playing at the next day. And he was just asking if anyone really wanted to be interested because he wasn't really sure if he wanted to go at all himself either. Well, the next day rolls around and I swing back by Gil's place to chill for a few hours and just game and bullshit. We watch some YouTube videos for a while until Gil has to go do some work for his uncle. Nick is also over there chilling with him and he brings up the show his friend will be playing at soon. everyone else I think ended up being busy, and I'm thinking like, well, shit, I ain't got nothing to do. Or actually, I probably had hella homework for class for sure. But dude, I was such an irresponsible degenerate, dude. Like that, I was just pushing that shit off till the last 5 minutes easy. Anyways, back to the story. So I decided to roll with him. Now Nick didn't have a car at the time, so I told him I'd drive us there. I just wanted to make a little trip back to my place, get a little more smoke, and since his friend invited us to chill backstage, I wanted to bring a little contribution for inviting us, right? So I swing back by my place, grab a few things, and then we head out to the show. On a side note, one thing I did notice was how paranoid Nick was with the cops and like getting in trouble, I guess. Because on the way there, we passed a cop that was driving the opposite direction. Like he's just passing us on the road, right? When that happened, Nick was like, dude, they're going to follow us. Pull over here and like wait for him to come back by and pass. And I'm sitting there like, dude, they were just literally driving by us. You got to realize that if we do something like that, we're going to even look way more sketchy because I'm always kind of the type of person just to hide in plain sight or just go with the flow, right? Don't create any like unnecessary distractions. But we eventually get to the place and we go up to the front door where they like collect a cover fee. You know, it's like a $5 cover fee. And Nick explains the situation though, like, hey, we're actually here to meet someone. We were invited here, like, I can't remember the name of the artist, but he's like, so-and-so invited us. We're like his +2 or whatever. So the girl is at the front door, tells us to go around back and knock on the back door. Someone should open up for us. So we walk around back, give the door a knock, and a tall, husky guy opens the door. So I'm like 6'2", 6'3", and this guy's maybe about my height or an inch or two taller. And when dude opens the door, I actually recognize him because he played with one of the groups that was in the local area for the electronic, you know, dubstep scene at the time. You got to remember, this is back in 2010, 2011. And that's what was kind of really just popping in this local area. This guy's group played a lot in the area at the time, and he was also playing this show with Nick's friend. So, you know, we tell this guy what the deal is and that we were invited by this artist to come chill in the back room or whatever. And like off the rip, this dude starts with some crazy bullshit. Dude standing at the door goes, nah, you can't get in. You can't be getting in for free. Support local artists, man. And just like treats us like shit, man. Like just like pop it off. And I tell him, like, dude, we don't care to pay. Like, we were just specifically invited to, like, chill here, dude. And, you know, as a sign of goodwill to just diffuse and calm him down, I'm like, yo, I got some decent smoke as well. Then he just riles up even harder, dude. He's like, I don't need your shit. I fucking sell it. The dude proceeds to pull out a bag with, like, 2 or 3 G's that looks like straight dirt and smells like plastic. Also because he like shoves the bag in our face pretty much. I mean, maybe it wasn't like a shove, but he just like, you know, just held it like right up to our faces, you know. Anyways, the guy is super fucked up on a few different things, has to be, and is just a prick. So I look at Nick and I'm like, whatever, dude. So Nick and I walk off, have a cigarette, kind of start discussing a plan of like what we're gonna do now. We had been pre-gaming a little bit in the parking lot, and Nick was getting a little drunk now, so we still could go to a show or, you know, maybe go somewhere else because we really didn't like that guy's vibe, and we were thinking about going to another spot. Since this dude thinks he's hot shit, like he's a fucking 450-pound Skrillex or something. I mean, this guy's ego was as big as he was. Like, come on, dude, you're playing a local show in basically a downtown rural area. So as me and Nick are chatting about what we're gonna do, we hear from a little ways down the sidewalk where we had originally came from, Skrillex 2.0, the big dude. He's yelling at us, yeah, these fucking bums think they can get in for free. They need to support the local artists. Then the dude fucking comes over to us. Like, bro's just straight antagonizing us right now. And I knew this was gonna be bad because Nick did have patience, but this guy was fucking pushing him. But I knew if that thick Skrillex came by, it was going to be trouble because Nick, dude, he was getting kind of tipsy at this point. The alcohol was starting to settle in a little bit, right? Also, another thing to keep in mind, Nick had already had a few drinks before we even left Gil's place. And honestly, I hate to say it, but I wouldn't mind rocking this guy's shit if he comes for me or just seeing Nick get into it with him. So he walks right up to us, talking that same shit he was before. And he gets right up in Nick's face. I knew it was about to go down. Well, he's running his mouth, dude. Nick throws that first drunk-ass punch on him, dude. And, you know, they start swinging at each other. Also, keep in mind, Nick's not a big guy. This guy's like 6'3", 6'4", and Nick's maybe 5'8". He's also a little more of a skinnier dude. He's not completely frail or anything, but this other guy has like 200 pounds on him. Anyway, Nick gets clipped and goes down. I knew he probably didn't stand a chance, most likely because of the alcohol, but dude, bro scrapped hard. But, I was just going to let it down like, he's traded some blows. Let me get up Nick real quick and, let's walk off. The fight's over. Fuck it. Well, I start walking up to Nick, to get him up. And, dude, this metric ton baby starts stomping on his head, like on the concrete. Bro, I lunge and grab this dude around the neck with both hands, and I'm just like, dude, are you trying to fucking kill this guy, you idiot? Like, bro, I'm about to haul off and hit this guy in the mouth. But dude, I swear, as I'm about to do this, I see flashlights, maybe about like 20 yards behind us, just around the corner down the street. And I could tell that they were cops because I could see the silhouette of their hats, and they're definitely like sprinting in our direction. Split second, I start to realize, oh, dude, I've got a pretty good amount of like herbage in my pocket. So then I take dude by the neck and just shove him as hard as I can away. Pretty much then rip Nick from the dead from the ground. Like I ripped him up so fast. And then I was doing some like Weekend at Bernie shit. I'm just like heavily power walking my ass to keep Nick up on my shoulder so the cops don't even notice that he's out. I hear the cops about literally 4 seconds later rush up telling everybody, get the fuck out of the road, clear the sidewalk. Like I really just think they wanted to break it up. I don't think they started arresting anyone. I was just glad I got a head start so they didn't smell anything on us. So I get him over to a bench in the parking lot where we had originally parked at. And I tell him like, yo dude, are you okay? And he's like coming to now, right? And he's like, well, man, look, you can't win them all. I just couldn't walk away without giving that dick a few good ones, bro. Dude, I just start laughing my ass off at that point. So I asked him, like, yo, dude, you need a ride back? Or, like, what do you want to do now? He says, nah, man, I'm still going to try to make a night out of this. And I think he had ended up getting, like, a text from someone that had hit him up earlier. So Nick asked if I still want to chill with him. I'm like, dude, honestly, after all this, I don't want to test my luck any further. I'm going to go take this stuff I have with me and just head back to the house and call it a night. Man, I saw Nick probably about 2 or 3 years after this happened. I think I was at the store or something. And I was talking to him. I was like, bro, do you remember getting knocked out and I had to like drag you away before the cops rolled up on us? He was like, wait, what? That's what happened? He said he saw some friends that were there that night and just thought he got too drunk. Turns out he was nearly blackout when the whole thing went down. Or brownout for some of y'all. But that's the story of a DJ knocking out my friend. Anyways, I'd love to hear if some of y'all could relate to this life story. This was a pretty wild one, and one of my first crazy situations that happened to me when I first started college. And please, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment. Also, y'all be safe out there. And until next time, take it easy, gamers.